Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, authorities in Fayette and Warren County make a big cocaine bust on U.S. Highway 69. And multiple propositions were passed in last night's election, but issues rose with the new voting machines. Plus, authorities are investigating a recent break-in at a Houston Israeli restaurant as a possible hate crime.
And you've got one more day, folks, before you'll be reaching for your coats and your winter jackets because the warm weather is going to be gone. In fact, by Friday, strong north wind will be blowing through here, giving us a big chill for the weekend. We'll be talking more about that coming up in a moment.
Fire crews battle a massive chemical plant fire northeast of Houston. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. While working a joint drug band operation with Wharton Police Department, Fayette County Sheriff's deputies stopped a heavy machinery trailer on U.S. Highway 69. Inside the trailer was 100 kilos of cocaine. The street value of the cocaine was an estimated $10 million. And Monday, law enforcement officers arrested 26-year-old Tracy Hicks Jr. He faces drug charges and fraud charges. He's at the Victoria County Jail in lieu of bond paying to $50,000. The Victoria County Elections Office says it had two issues with the new voting machines Tuesday. They say the vendors are working on those issues. Apparently, the DPS 300 tabulator would not open or had an error of bad boot drive. Poll workers had instructions on opening and closing the polls in that event, but they are still learning the new systems. The new machines use a two-step process, so when you vote, your vote is stored electronically and on paper to maximize accuracy. When you vote, the ballot prints on paper, then you insert that ballot inside a nearby tabulator. The estimated voter turnout for Tuesday's constitutional amendment election was 14.4% of registered voters, making this the highest turnout for a constitutional amendment election since 2005. More than 2.5 million Texans cast a ballot. State homeowners and businesses will get potentially thousands of dollars come from their property tax bills after voters approved Proposition 4. The Texas Tribune reports the $18 billion property tax cut package was approved by over 80% of voters, with more than 2 million voting in favor of the amendment. Edna voters rejected Proposition A on their ballot Tuesday. 76% of the voters turned down a proposal regarding a new sports complex for Edna ISD. And with the passage of Proposition 7 by Texas voters Tuesday, the Public Utility Commission announced it will run the Texas Energy Fund. The fund will provide grants and loans to finance the construction, maintenance, modernization, and operation of electric facilities in Texas. The fund will also provide funding for the installation of backup power for facilities that are critical for public health and safety. And here is your viewer poll this afternoon. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote. The question is, what proposition got you to the polls? Was it teacher retirement, home tax, Texas parks, internet infrastructure, retirement age, or other? We want to hear your opinion. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. And with that, let's turn it over to the weather with Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Mac, I thought it was fall. We have summer weather outside right now.
Well, yeah, but that's not much longer. In fact, all of this will be changing as soon as tomorrow night. Right now, we're at 80 degrees. We were on the warm side of things there for a while, and our humidity is fairly high, but we got up to 84. But by the weekend, by Friday, the high will be about 64. So we'll be talking about a big change in your weather coming in for Friday. Stay tuned. We'll have that coming up in just a moment. Karina, back to you.
Mac, thank you. Israel is facing pressure from some of its closest allies over plight of civilians in Gaza. Thousands of Palestinians are leaving northern Gaza on foot because of dwindling food and water and increased fighting. The group of 7 wealthy nations announced a unified stance on the Israel-Hamas war after intensive meetings in Tokyo, condemning Hamas and supporting Israel's right to self-defense. But they also called for the immediate delivery of food, water, medicine, and fuel, and for humanitarian pauses. The owner of a restaurant in Houston believes she was targeted because of an Israeli flag hanging outside her building. Taste of Tel Aviv was broken into early this morning. The owner says the burglar bypassed cash, instead to destroy some of her Jewish prayer books. She thinks the Israeli flag hanging outside the restaurant drew the burglar to her place. The owner recently reported 2 threats to the Houston police. They suggested she take down the flag, but she decided against it.
And I don't feel like that we should have to alter our way of doing business to please other people. I just don't bend that easily.
Police are investigating the burglary and detectives will determine if this was a hate crime. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca wave. The Calhoun County ISD $25 million bond was passed by 158 votes in yesterday's bond election. And the city of Port Lavaca was recognized by the Texas Municipal League for its Earth Day cleanup event. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Now, a fire broke out at a chemical plant in San Jacinto County, about 60 miles from Houston. Authorities say it's at a petroleum processing plant called Sound Resource Solutions. The company focuses on recycling and distributing chemicals, including acids. A spokesperson reported one employee suffered a minor injury and is under treatment for those burns. Nearby private school students have evacuated, and residents within a mile were urged to shelter in place. The Victoria Veterans Council announced the Veterans Day Parade this Saturday is canceled due to the weather. Instead, a ceremony will take place at VFW Post 4146 at 2001 Lova Drive at 10 a.m., followed by a luncheon. And of course, in honor of Veterans Day Saturday, the VFW posted 4146 is offering a free burger to veterans tonight until 8 o'clock. Just show your proof of service and you'll get a burger, some chips, a drink, and a pastry. Again, they're going to be at 2001 Lova, southeast of Rio Grande Street and just north of Lone Tree Road. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. 2 subpoenas were issued by the House Oversight Committee against members of the Biden family. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, the latest in the investigation. Also ahead, a police department in Mississippi under investigation. We'll go over the allegations shared by the Assistant Attorney General.
Air Force veteran John Tate is your military hero for the month of October. Tate was born in Freeport and moved to Victoria when he was 6 years old. All of Tate's brothers ended up joining the military as well.
I had three brothers. My oldest brother joined the Navy because Dad was in the Navy during the war. My younger brother joined the Marine Corps. He liked hitting people. And my baby brother partied until the Army drafted him and sent him to Nam. But I was smart. I joined the Air Force because I wanted an education. And I got it the first day of boot camp. It started.
Tate was talented with engines and was a mechanic, so he figured that's what he would do in the service, but to his surprise, he would end up doing something a whole lot different.
I thought I would get jet engine school or diesel school, but I scored too high on the entry test. So top 10%, they sent me to weather school.
So he would go on to become a meteorologist for the Air Force and ended up loving it.
But I loved it. I really did. When I got into it, it's very interesting. I love it. Today, I hear thunder. I'm outside looking,
Tate almost was sent over to fight in Vietnam, but since he had 2 brothers over there already, the service gave him the option to go elsewhere.
I said, well, what are my choices? And one of them was in Newfoundland. Another one was an ice station in North Pole. And another one was Alaska. And I said, don't you have anything warmer? Yeah, take the 2-year tour in Puerto Rico. We're staging B-52s out of Puerto Rico to Vietnam.
Stationed in Puerto Rico, he was sent all over.
We did rocket experiments there in Puerto Rico. It's not secret anymore, but and I got sent, like I said, in several different places, different airplanes. It was interesting, but they were starving us to death. We didn't get paid anything back then.
His official title was Weather Observer and covered a lot of territory.
Every hour you transmitted an observation, and if the weather changed, you transmitted a special observation. And it went out all over the world.
Oh, wow.
On teletype. So that was, in a nutshell.
Tate had to endure some tough moments.
Yeah, the first time we pulled a corpse out, all burnt to crap. Another one I pulled out, he'd been in the water for about 3 days. And the fish and the crabs had got to him. Things like that stick you. You'll never forget that. But and how hot the flames are when when that jet fuel starts burning.
And his return home from the Vietnam War wasn't a warm welcome.
Walking down the jetway, I got a duffel bag on my shoulder, a B4 bag in my other hand, and people were cussing me and spitting on my uniform. And I could not believe this was the same country. And it bothered me, so I put all that stuff in the closet.
Once back in the Crossroads, Tate worked various jobs from dealerships, shipyards, to driving trucks for his brother and Union Carbide. He and his wife have been happily married for 41 years, and he says their grandkids and great-grandkids keep them busy.
Yeah, until Christmas time, that cost a fortune, man.
He's also a carpenter. He's even built his own house and likes to fish and hunt.
We go out there whenever we feel, we need to get close to nature. Out in the middle of nowhere, you can actually hear the wind blow.
He's also very proud of his 20 years as commander of the Victoria County Funeral Detail, serving any veteran from the Crossroads to be sure they're at their funeral.
I'm ambivalent about my time here as commander of the funeral detail. I cannot say I enjoyed it. I can say it gave me a sense of fulfillment. And the guys who were on that detail, every one of them were on there as long as I was, some of them longer. And they were steady, they were reliable, and they were good men, and they did a good job. I can never say enough about the Victoria County Funeral Detail.
So thank you, John Tate, for your dedication to your country and all of the time served. Adam Seibel, KAVU TV 25 News Now.
House Republicans have issued subpoenas to both Hunter and James Biden. This move by the House Oversight Committee chair comes as Republicans look into gaining ground in their nearly year-long investigation. So far, the Republicans have failed to uncover evidence directly implicating the president in any wrongdoing. The White House and the Biden family's personal lawyers have dismissed the investigation as a political ploy aimed at hurting Biden. Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin expressed disappointment with election results that allowed Democrats to take control of both the Virginia House and Senate. However, he pledged to work with the party's new legislative majority on bipartisan priorities. Senate Republicans conceded Tuesday evening that Democrats had taken that chamber's majority. Only two ultra-competitive Virginia legislative races remain undecided. And the Justice Department has opened a civil investigation into the police department in Lexington, Mississippi. The Assistant Attorney General named several allegations that led to this probe, including using roadblocks to target black drivers, arresting people without justification, and excessive force against people who were not a threat to law enforcement. The DOJ has opened similar civil rights investigations into other police departments across the country. U.S. public health experts are warning about an alarming rise of syphilis in babies. The infection is potentially life-threatening to a child, but health experts say it's preventable if caught and treated in time.
A dire rise in congenital syphilis. The U.S. saw a 30-year high in the number of reported cases in babies in 2022, according to new numbers from the CDC.
Congenital syphilis is caused when a mother suffering from syphilis passes the infection on to her growing baby.
More than 3,700 babies were born with syphilis in the U.S. in 2022. That's a 32% increase from the year before and a tenfold rise since 2012. This infection can cause miscarriage, stillbirth, premature birth, low birth weight, even death shortly after birth. But congenital syphilis can be prevented, says Dr. Asma Chadha with Mayo Clinic.
Knowing a woman has syphilis is the first step towards treatment. It is an easily treated infection, but universal screening is essential.
Chadha says a simple blood test can screen for syphilis. It should be done early at the first prenatal doctor's visit, and some women should be tested twice.
In high-risk populations, we should probably be rescreening pregnant women again in the third trimester to make sure that the infection didn't occur later in pregnancy.
Some public health leaders believe budget cuts to state health departments and a shortage of the only drug approved to treat syphilis in pregnancy are undercutting the effort to curb the rising cases.
It's very important that regardless of their ability to be able to afford prenatal care or not, all women and their children, particularly the ones who are pregnant, are receiving universal access.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The U.S. Geological Survey reported a 5.3 magnitude earthquake near Mentone today. It happened around 3:27 a.m. Mountain Time. Tremors could be felt from Santa Teresa, New Mexico to Clint, Texas. Residents across New Mexico to El Paso reported different experiences, from beds shaking to even items falling off the shelves to being jolted awake. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record. City Mayor Sarah Postmeyer signs a proclamation making November National Home Care and Hospice Month in Cuero. And a Veterans Day ceremony will be held this Saturday at 10 a.m. located at the Post Home in Cuero. Plus, Hunt Elementary collects much needed supplies for the Cuero Pet Adoption Center. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
Well, the clouds are beginning to gather. The cold air is beginning to gather as well, and all of that will be rolling down into our neighborhood, making it a big change. When does it get here? How much rain will we get? We'll be talking about that coming up in a moment. Well, good afternoon, everybody. 80 degrees right about now. This is pretty much no, tomorrow will be around 80, but then everything changes as we start getting back into a winter pattern. Got up to 84 today after a 67 low. I know I saw everybody walking the dogs early this morning, and they're just having fun in the t-shirts and flip-flops, but that's going to be changing too. We haven't had any rain for November so far. And so our annual total from January 1st until now is 31.24. That is about 4.7 below our average rainfall. So how much will we get? I'm thinking we're probably going to get 1 to 2 inches of rain out of this whole complex because it's a winter rain. It's not a big, thunderstorm with a downpour. Fairly nice today with the cloud deck, but the cloud deck is coming in thicker from the Pacific Southwest, as you see right about there. Also, right about here is the cold air, the low developing. You can see it right there. That is where they're beginning to pick up some snow, which will be dropping down into northern New Mexico. I don't think Texas will get much in terms of snow, but the front is already beginning to move in. And as I mentioned yesterday, we have the remnants of what used to be Pilar down here. And it's just so funny how sneaky it just gets caught up by the westerly winds and then starts rolling up into our area. That's actually good because I think it's going to enhance our rain chance. Here we go to Thursday morning, to tomorrow morning. You can see the rain coming into West Texas. Nothing so far for us. Then we go to Thursday afternoon. You can see rain pretty much all over the state as the front starts coming down and all the Pacific moisture rise up on top of that. So Thursday afternoon, we should see some shower activity. And then Friday, well, it's pretty soggy here. And that's good. We need the rain. We'll be looking at that actually coming in and staying for a couple of days. So this is about a 4 or 5 day track of shower activity around here. Kind of that cloudy, rainy, winter kind of rain. And if we look all the way through Saturday, this model gives us a possible 1 to 2 inch rain total. So that's what I'm looking for. Overnight tonight, we're looking mid 60s. Tomorrow we'll get up into the 80s, but you'll see the clouds thicken up and the rain begin late in the day. And then on Friday, well, it's the chill that rolls back in. Here's our front. It'll be rolling through about midnight Thursday. And then on Friday, you'll catch a north wind with quite a bit of rain rolling around the area. It's not a big downpour. It's sort of a steady rain. That's what I call a winter rain. It just sort of rain pretty much all day long. So yeah, we are definitely into the weather season as things will be getting back to winter weather. We do have a small craft advisory up because not so much for the morning, but by afternoon it'll be windy and the showers will start beginning. Your day planner for Port Lavaca getting up to 78 tomorrow. Still a southerly wind, but overcast and rain showers. 69 to 75 the high in Cuero. You can see how rain showers late in the day. And I've just gone ahead and called Friday an alert day. Why? Because everybody's going to be affected by the wind and the rain and the temperature, which will be dropping from 82 down to 62. The weekend looks willy and chilly. No, chilly willy. No, chilly and windy. That's what we're looking at for about 4 or 5 days beginning on Friday. That is your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take a look at your stocks. Plus, the first FDA-approved pill for postpartum depression has many health advocates concerned. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow down 40 points, the S&P 500 up 4 points, and the Nasdaq up 11 points. Oil down $2.04, closing at $75.33 a barrel. The first pill cleared to treat postpartum depression may be too expensive for thousands of women who need it. The drug was approved by the FDA in August to help women who suffer from severe depression after giving birth. But health advocates are concerned at its nearly $16,000 price tag, and it's unclear if insurance will even cover the cost. An IV version of the medication is available, but it will be administered in the hospital at an even higher cost of $35,000. The University of Austin, armed with $200 million, is ready to begin accepting applicants. You can read this story by the Texas Tribune on our crossroadstoday.com website. And stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast with Mac. Plus, 4 lion cubs at the Buffalo Zoo are growing up strong in their new home. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
Ivanka Trump takes the stand in the civil fraud case against her father. Plus, the results from key races across the country. Just 1 year out from the next presidential election, more Americans turn to the most watched program on television. World News Tonight with David Muir.
Zoo's new residents are quite the hit. The 4 lion cubs are 5 months old, and now they weigh about 60 to 70 pounds. The cubs spend their days cuddling with their mom and roughhousing each other, of course, like lions do. The Buffalo Zoo's successful breeding program offers hope for the survival of the vulnerable African lion population in the wild. Zookeepers say the group is always ready to play, and so far, they're handling the cold Buffalo air just fine. And you know what? They look so cute, but I wish we were having some cold air. You're telling me it's coming back, though.
It's coming back, yeah. I think you will be looking for your jacket Friday morning.
I like being cozy and like shivering. That's
okay. Well, I don't know if we're gonna be shivering, but it'll definitely be a big chill. Tomorrow we'll get up to 82, but the clouds will start thickening up late in the day, probably sundown. You may see a few little showers, but the main event is midnight. When the front comes through, then you'll hear it because we'll get a loud north wind blowing to about 25, 30 miles an hour. I'm calling in an alert day because all of you will be affected by it, not only by the wind, by the rain, and by the temperature drop, about 20 degrees. So make sure you get ready to bundle up the kids on Friday morning. Then the weekend is damp and windy. Now, I just want to say that I'm really glad that the veterans decided to cancel the parade. I love a parade. I go to parades. I think it's great to have parades, but since we're going to have a lot of our veterans that are, up in age, it's probably better not to expose them to the cold wind. So I
Better
think
safe
it's
than sorry.
a really good idea. Really good idea.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Mac. And thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with Dave Amir is up next.